With some exciting PC game releases on the horizon, Lenovo have thought about the budget-conscious gamer, and in response have cooked up the LOQ 15 gaming laptop for 2023. It's backed by some solid specs, including an RTX 4060 graphics, 16GB of RAM, and a decent Full HD display with a buttery smooth 144Hz refresh rate, which should make easy work of running those most talked about AAA titles. So let's take it out of the box and see exactly what it's capable of.
Hello and welcome to Box, where we unbox, review and demonstrate the latest tech.
Inside the box, the packaging and accessories are quite minimal. You get this 6x3 by 1 inch power brick with this laptop, which isn't too cumbersome to carry around and feels much smaller than the one you get with the Legion. Once it's powered on and set up, you get a good look at the overall design here. The entire laptop is nicely weighted, coming in at around 2.4 kilograms. Of course, being a budget model, the entire body is made from this hard-wearing, durable PC-ABS, as opposed to metal, but I like how this takes the weight out of it, making it overall easier to carry around and have on your lap for longer periods of time. The entire look is pretty clean and inconspicuous overall, covered in a nice smoky storm grey colouring with a few tastefully positioned logos in the corners on the front and the back. Around the edges there's plenty of ventilation to help the cooling system do its work, and I love the use of the teal blue accents around and inside the vent grids, as it brings a little pop of colour and personality to something that's usually overlooked. We have with us the smaller 15-inch model for this review, but the LOQ does come in a variety of models with different levels of internal specifications and display sizes, so there's a good range to choose from to best fit your budget. When closed, the laptop is about 1 inch thick, which is what I come to expect from a gaming laptop. The screen extension, however, does exceed my expectations, opening at a wide 150-degree angle, which is perfect for adjusting the angle with your eye line when on your lap. When it comes to ports and connections, you'll be reassured that the LOQ 15 provides everything necessary for everyday and gaming needs. Starting with the sides, along the right you get a privacy switch for the webcam and one 3.2 Gen 1 USB port. And along the left you get a 3.2 Gen 2 USB-C for data transfer and DisplayPort, as well as offering 140 watt power delivery, also coupled with a 3.5mm headphone microphone port. On the back is where you'll find the majority of the ports though, with two 3.2 Gen 2 USBs, an Ethernet port, a 2.1 HDMI supporting up to 8K at 60Hz, and finally a power input. Now let's take a closer look at the controls here. For the keyboard, you get a classic tactile feel with low-profile keys and a 1.5mm key travel. Typing was an okay experience, with the keys feeling quite flat, but of course this would be great for skimming across keys at speed when gaming. There is a little flex within the keyboard, but I didn't find this as noticeable over time. I was pleased to see the full-sized arrow keys here too, giving me plenty of control when gaming. Now it's nice to see a full-size keyboard in effect without taking up too much room. Now I love to see a little bit of RGB behind the keys, and I was pleased to see that it has a customizable 4-zone RGB backlight to play with through the Vantage app. I can choose a specific colour or a set light pattern, so it's adaptable to any situation. And though there's no option here to change the brightness, I could see the lights clearly both in dark and light conditions. And I love the handy quick change key on the spacebar for alternating between my set light patterns. The customization here isn't as detailed as some of the higher end Lenovo gaming laptops, but honestly it has all of the necessary features that I need for making it my own. Though the touchpad isn't glass, it still feels smooth when scrolling, which is a relief. Now I did feel that the click wasn't as responsive as I'd like, but mostly navigation was intuitive, letting my fingers glide over the space easily in various conditions. Now let's take a closer look at the display here. With the 15 model, you get a spacious 15.6 IPS display with a 1920 by 1080 Full HD resolution and a buttery smooth 144Hz refresh rate. I found the display to be perfectly clear across both video content and games, with the anti-glare coating helping smooth out any harsh glare during the day. The display brightness comes out at roughly 350 nits, but by eye, the brightness is quite impressive, bringing out a readable picture in a bright space even in some of those darker scenes. Despite the matte style, the colours did come out vibrant and natural, really making my game scenes come alive. Now having a look at the sharper angle, I could still see a very clear image from both the sides and tilted back at full extension. The bezel around the screen is also quite thin thanks to its generous display, and I found it still had plenty of space for both general browsing and games, feeling fully immersed in the action. Now I'm pretty pleased with the display performance overall across both video and game content, and from the display tests, I couldn't see any visible signs of deformity either, coming up clear of dead pixels. When it comes to internal specs, you won't be disappointed. Considering it's more budget friendly on the build side, there's no compromise on the internal power here. Utilising a 13th gen Intel Core i5 processor coupled with the latest Nvidia GeForce RTX 4060 graphics, it's backed by a solid 16GB of RAM and a reasonable 512GB SSD. Of course, if this isn't enough, the major benefit of the LOQ15 is its upgradability. Now it has two M.2 PCIe slots to enable storage upgrades of up to 1TB, as well as two DDR5 SODIMM memory slots, so you have the ability to really pack in some support for your games if you need it. It also adds that layer of long-term stability, knowing that it's fine for any basic needs now, but has the potential to support me in the future with a few quick upgrades. Another more unique aspect of Lenovo laptops is of course the AI Engine Plus, which utilises the LA chip. Now it's very useful for gaming as it uses a software machine learning algorithm to optimise your experience based on how you use it. Now it's helpful particularly for adapting FPS in-game, as well as adjusting game performance to always make sure that you get the best outcome. Now I would say I've seen this firsthand in a way because playing a few of my favourite game titles, I got a very consistent performance throughout with hardly any interruptions or picture inconsistencies no matter what game settings I had it set to, which is a great asset to have in a laptop. Speaking of gameplay, this laptop really surprised me when handling some high performance titles. Now opening up the Xbox app, I did take full advantage of the free 3 months of Xbox Game Pass that came with the laptop brand new. Now it's such a huge benefit for me considering I don't have a massive library of games and I can pick and choose what I want to play to see what I like without committing to any one game. Of course, the 500GB storage does limit how many games you can download at once, but if you're really into gaming, then upgrading the storage would be something you'd need to consider. As always, I tried out Forza Horizon 5 as it's quite graphics intensive, and I also had a try with Apex Legends, Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Quake 2 just to mix things up. Now I ran these games on mains power and didn't alter any of the settings apart from switching the laptop to performance mode, so I got an idea on how the laptop performs just by default. Booting up Forza 5, I found it strange that it automatically suggested playing on low quality performance settings. I thought I'd set it to high graphics just to see how well it coped, and surprisingly it ran perfectly fine without a hitch. So I boosted the graphics up to ultra and just as expected it ran beautifully with no visible stuttering or tearing. Now running a quick benchmark on ultra graphics preset, I could see that it counted a high number of stutters and did achieve an average of 71 FPS. But honestly, over a few games that I tried, it did run very well, almost better than expected because I didn't experience any interruptions that took me away from the game. Now it's very smooth and matched my gaming pace, which is everything I need to see from a gaming laptop. The only niggling aspect for me is possibly wanting more from the display, but I'd happily take the sacrifices made to be able to experience high performance gaming on the go while on a budget. If you often play games and watch movies without a headset, then you'll be interested to hear just how good the sound output is directly through the speakers. So the laptop has two 2-watt inbuilt stereo speakers that utilise dynamic gaming audio to give your game sound a bit more detail. I personally thought the audio was loud and distinct, allowing me to hear any crucial game sound as well as enjoy a movie easily when I'm sitting further back. But to give you an idea, here's a small sound sample for reference.
Sometimes we have to do what's right, regardless of our personal feelings. Buckle up.
Assuming you'll be playing a lot of games and potentially using it as a creative hub too, the LOQ15 does have a lot of cooling support to help keep temperatures down during high intensive use. Alongside utilising the Lenovo Vantage software for monitoring and maintaining CPU and GPU usage, it's backed by 4 heat pipes and a series of high-speed fans while letting a lot of that hot air escape through those generously placed vents along the sides, back and underside. Now I ran most of my games on performance mode to put the power behind the games, so the fans did run hard throughout, as you can hear here. After playing a few games through though, I found I didn't notice any of the heat, with the area surrounding the touchpad remaining cool. The heat did mainly sit around the keyboard after running a few games for over an hour, but I was very pleased to feel the laptop body remained cool to the touch, and though the fans did kick up a lot when supporting high performance games, I was glad they did their part to try and keep the laptop as cool as it could. Now moving on to battery life, there are some highlights I'd happily address. charging up to 100% from low battery was incredibly fast, taking as little as just over an hour to power up completely. Now the battery did seem to support an intensive workflow, though I'd always recommend using it on mains power when playing games, for example, just to get the most out of that performance. Even though I'd only used it over 4 to 5 hours, I did find the battery drained quite quickly when running videos and games on it constantly and never letting it go to sleep. Of course, the average user wouldn't normally do this, so I'd say the battery would last a good few hours on battery alone when just using it normally. It does have a 60 watt-hour capacity and a 230 watt charger, so it's normally pretty quick to charge it back up though when needed without any hassle. So after using the LOQ 15 over a few days, I can honestly say that it's a great solution for the budget-conscious on-the-go gamer. The design is very minimal, but it does have that little splash of gamer aesthetic. It's quite a light build, making it easy to maneuver around. It doesn't have all the luxuries of a high-powered gaming laptop, but this is an amazing sacrifice compared to the powerful internal support that it provides for unlimited gaming potential. It's held up its end of the bargain when running some of my favourite titles, so I was easily assured that it would carry out some creative video editing on it as well, doubling up as a great work and play machine.
So what are your thoughts on the Lenovo LOQ 15 laptop? Let us know in the comments below, and if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to Box, where we have plenty of hands-on reviews on the latest tech. And as always, thanks for watching.